Forktales, a podcast that feeds the food and beverage world. Forktales is brought to you by Pavone Group and Vigor, a branding and marketing agency for restaurant, beverage, and hospitality brands. Learn more at vigorbranding.com. If you love what we're serving up, please give Forktales a 5-star review on your podcast service of choice. Think of it as a tip for good service.
Hello, everyone. Today's episode of Forktales, I am joined by someone who takes cause marketing and entrepreneurial spirit to a new level. His name is Andrew Glantz, and he's the founder of GiftAMeal. Welcome, Andrew, and tell us a little bit about yourself and some of your backstory.
Yeah, of course. So I'm originally from Los Angeles, and I came out to St. Louis to go to WashU for college. When I was a student there, I owned and operated a nonprofit storefront to promote reuse and sustainability and volunteered for various causes. And then when I had a summer internship at a venture capital firm and got exposed to the startup world, I fell in love with the scalability of it and found out about the idea of a profits with a purpose business model that you could do well while doing good, and came up with the idea for GiftAMeal when I was on a lunch break and kind of ran with it and put my savings into it. Graduated in May 2017 and started it out in St. Louis, and now started to really scale it up and grow it into what it is today.
That's very cool. Now, I'm somewhat of an entrepreneur. I started my own business when I was 27 and grew several companies, and I love it. I mean, I just think it's a great way to be, and I love the energy of it. So how did you become this entrepreneur? How did you all of a sudden, a family of entrepreneurs? I mean, just had ideas. Tell me about you. Like what motivates you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that making an impact has always been something that's important to me. And then I also just like the creative autonomy that comes with entrepreneurship and trying to find those win-win scenarios and align incentives for different parties. And so with GiftAMeal, I was trying to look at how we could create a win for the restaurants in terms of marketing win for them and an easy way to add a community engagement program for them. And then for food banks in terms of their fundraising and not taking a lot of effort for them to connect and be able to raise more funding, and for diners to be able to discover and support socially conscious restaurants. And so I kind of combined all those together along with Tom Shue's Warby Parker buy one, give one model, and applied it to the restaurant industry, where guests can just take a photo of their food or drink at a restaurant that's a partner, and then we make a donation to a local food bank to give a meal to someone in need in their community. So tried to make it easy and align all those stakeholders.
It's fantastic. I mean, obviously it's a great cause. It's a great concept, and it's really a very smart model. I mean, I'm really intrigued. I want to learn more about this. So the GiftAMeal, how does it work? Like, you talked about it started, you had the idea, you went to school, you want to do good, all good things, but how does it work? Like, I mean, I'll say this from the entrepreneurial side. I mean, we all got to make a living. I mean, you have nice clothes on. I'm sure everyone's got to make a living. How does the model work? Like, teach me how it works.
Absolutely. So the program is funded by the restaurant and free for the guest who's dining at the restaurant. And so the restaurant's paying a flat monthly program fee to be involved. So for a single unit mom and pop, it's $59 a month. Then each time a guest dines at the restaurant, whether it's dine-in, takeout, or delivery, they can scan a QR code off of signage from the restaurant, which launches GiftAMeal on their phone. They then take a photo of their food or drink, and when they do that, we make a monetary donation from that program fee that the restaurant pays to a local food bank to cover its cost of providing a meal to someone in need in their community. And then the guest is invited to share that photo on their personal Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter/X. And we give an extra meal for each platform they share on, since then they're promoting the restaurant to their friends in a positive way. In terms of the donation component, the donations are all local. So we match each restaurant location to a food bank that services the county that they're in. And each of these different food banks gets food donated to them by supermarkets, food distributors, community food drives, and in storing these big distribution facilities. And then where GiftAMeal comes in is donating money to help fund the distribution costs of getting that food from these big facilities to the hundreds of neighborhood pantries where those in need could actually access the food. So typically the food banks have listed on their website, for every dollar donated, they can provide 4 meals to those in need, or 5 meals, or 3 meals. So approximately it costs about 25 cents to distribute a meal's worth of food in bulk. And so that's the amount that we're actually donating per photo taken.
That's awesome. So then you're helping facilitate basically the outsourcing of the food, or the back end or back office. It's not really a food thing, but I mean, you're funding the distribution model. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, so, the restaurant themselves, then they get to tout the fact that they're doing this. They can feel good about themselves, obviously, but from a marketing perspective, they really get to sort of like say, hey, look, we're really supporting our community here. How are they taking advantage of that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the restaurant could be posting about it on their social media channels about how many meals they're providing and everything. But more than that, one step further, with GiftAMeal, it's an interactive level of social responsibility where the guest feels good about themselves because they're putting in some amount of effort to take the photo, but they feel that sense of gratitude towards the restaurant because the restaurant's the one that's ultimately paying for it. And so it really creates that sense of emotional connection between the guest and the restaurant and makes them feel good about choosing that restaurant, in addition to encouraging them to promote the restaurant to friends on social media. And so we've seen that the guests using GiftAMeal on average are returning 39% more frequently. They're spending 20% more per visit, and they're tipping 32% more than a standard guest because of that sense of emotional connection. They have raises in satisfaction rates. The restaurant's getting goodwill with these customers, and they're also getting more word of mouth recommendations as a result on their social media to their friends and everything. So it is something that's really cool to be able to see a true marketing return without having to discount or offer coupons or anything that slashes the margins for the restaurant.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, because let's face it, we are a marketing firm. We market and help market restaurants, and a lot of times it's all the different deals and the value meals and all these kinds of things that you got to try and entice customers. And you brought forth a really smart program, and it's pretty remarkable. And I love the fact that you know your numbers. I mean, you're able to talk about the growth in sales, the tipping, which is really important to the servers, and we got to take care of the servers. I think it's really an interesting model. Really, really, really cool. So you should be very proud of what you built. So so how do you sell now? Again, being an entrepreneur, come up with ideas, great idea, brilliant idea, got the numbers. How do you sell? Like, how do you go out and market it, and what's your best way, and what's it like? Are you knocking on doors? Are you making phone calls? Are you going to shows? I mean, how do you get this program to the right people?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, originally, when I didn't have a car when I was in college, I was going up and down the street in the snow between 2 and 4:30 p.m. to mom and pop restaurants to try to talk to the owners and have them join and pitch them on the program. And then from there, we were able to sign up some restaurant groups. And then we had some franchisees join. And then we had a 30 location regional chain sign up for GiftAMeal. And then we started to expand from there. Now we're in 37 states across almost 1,000 restaurants and at 1.7 million meals provided to those in need. And so it was kind of continually de-risking ourselves with different types of restaurants and larger restaurant groups. So now we work with multiple brands that have over 100 locations system-wide. So we work with all 130 locations of Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, all 110 Pizza Factory locations. We work with 162 Gong Cha locations. And we also work with franchisees of brands like Jimmy John's and Chick-fil-A and lots of others, and Fuzzy's Taco Shop, and so Red Robin, TGI Fridays. And so it's something that's been really exciting to connect with all these different types of brands. In terms of where I meet them, sometimes they reach out to us on our website after seeing us in the news. Sometimes it's introductions from our current restaurants. Other times it's going to conferences. And like you said, other times it's just kind of cold reaching out to them with a LinkedIn, email, or phone call and just trying to start up a genuine conversation from a cold interaction and finding those brands that could be a like-minded fit.
I love it. And I love the started in the college and no car. I have a friend, one of my very best friends, extremely successful guy. He went to college with his brother. He ended up going for pizza the first night. Didn't know what else to do. Second night, they were hungry. Let's go for pizza. Third night, they were hungry. They went for pizza. So 3 nights in a row, they go to a pizza shop. They said to the pizza guy, hey, look, if we pass out coupons for your pizza shop, do you think maybe you give us like a discount on pizzas? The guy's like, sure, yeah, pass them out to all the college. that created a thing called the Coupon Clipper. Coupon Clipper is a hugely successful magazine across the country. I think there's something like maybe, I'll get this number wrong, but I'm going to suggest 125 magazines, Coupon Clipper magazines at one point in time around the United States. It's a huge company that ended up being sold to Gannett. Anyway, just like you did, like just a simple, like, I'm going to go out, I'm going to knock on a door, I'm going to find something out, I'm going to go to the next one, knock on the door. So congratulations. I'm always in awe of entrepreneurship and just the people and the fortitude that bring these things and these ideas forth. It's awesome.
Thank you.
If you can say, I mean, who's your biggest client, and are you trying to talk to some of the franchisees, the actual franchise? Are you having any luck there?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a mix. I mean, we can work with all different types of organizations, whether it's something system-wide, like we could work with a brand across 1,000 locations. We could work with a brand if they're an 100-location brand or a 30-location brand. For us, we're really flexible to however the organization does budgeting. So for example, for Gong Cha with their 162 locations, Lee's Chicken, 130, and Pizza Factory's 110, those are all paid for by corporate out of their marketing and advertising funds, and they pay for all the franchisees to be on GiftAMeal. But then we also work with the franchisees directly, like our Red Robin franchisee, Lehigh Valley Restaurant Group in Pennsylvania has 20 Red Robins. And so we just work with them directly, and they pay for GiftAMeal, but we don't have any interaction with corporate on that side. So, I'd love to have Red Robin as a brand across all locations. But it's one of those things where, we can hopefully prove out the value to the franchisees, get introductions from one franchisee to another, get introductions to corporate, and continue to go that way. So we go both a bottom-up approach and a top-down approach. And in terms of the size of the brands, there's brands that we're having conversations with that have thousands of locations.
Awesome.
And it's something that's really exciting there. And we've gotten feedback from them and built new product offerings where we've created essentially a white labeled version of GiftAMeal that's custom branded to their brand colors and everything, that could be integrated into their own mobile applications, their online ordering solutions, to have it really feel like a native solution for them. And so that's something that we're really going to be focused on in 2024 is, how can we work with these larger players and have GiftAMeal be a really easy plug and play social responsibility community engagement tool for them.
Yeah, I love that idea. I think that's brilliant. The white labeling and letting them sort of, for lack of a better word, get credit for this concept, right? I mean, because it really is your success is all dependent upon their success and their brand, and that's why they're doing it. So I think that's fantastic. I think it's super, super smart. What is the how likely are people to download the app? I mean, everybody's got turbulence. Everyone hits like speed bumps. Like you always have things, especially as an entrepreneur, there's things you have to overcome. I mean, the first thing might've been the first restaurant to jump on. Okay, great. So, but you have a great story. You bring forth at the time when you had your first restaurant, you didn't have any traction. So you couldn't say, we're going to increase your tips, we're going to increase your sales, we're going to increase your visits. But you had a great idea. So someone took a chance on you and your concept, which is great. But as you grow, what are some of the roadblocks? And I was wondering, I guess, is getting people to download the app or things like that. Does that become any kind of a friction point?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, we started off as a mobile app, but we always paid attention to the different technologies that were being developed. So Apple released a concept called an app clip, and Android released something similar called an instant app, where you could just scan a QR code and launch the app on your phone without having to download an app onto your device. And so it's really clean and quick, full screen experience. So it's kind of like a light version of an app. And that's kind of what we've adopted with most of these partner restaurants nowadays that we've developed over the last year, is this app clip version of GiftAMeal, where you don't actually have to download the full app onto your phone in order to participate and take your photo. It just gives you that quick experience, scan the QR code, take a photo to give a meal, and then you're done. There's no account creation or download required. If you want to download the full mobile app, you can, and you can see the list of all the partner restaurants on there. You can see the photos that other customers have taken, and you can have a profile. You can see friends' photos and all of that. But we realized that there were kind of those two different types of consumers, the consumers that wanted that full experience and consumers that just wanted something really, really quick and easy. And so that's why we created both avenues, so people can kind of choose how much they want to engage.
I love it. That's great. That's great. Do you different? Obviously, you mentioned some of your customers. Do any fine dining restaurants? Has anybody like that gotten involved? And I guess you're looking for scale, so you're probably looking for larger groups. But I mean, like if it was a PF Chang or any something more than a simple QSR, anything like that. Has anybody like that jumped on?
Yeah, and I mean, we have plenty of casual dining and fine dining restaurants, and lots of, we're about half mom and pops and restaurant groups compared to
Mm-hmm.
chains. And,
Sure.
we've seen that they've done well on GiftAMeal too. It's just figuring out how to promote the program in a way that fits into the restaurant's customer experience seamlessly. So, for instance, at a QSR, like fast casual brand, they might be able to have a table tent up on the table or a window cling in the drive-through window, so that customers know how to participate in GiftAMeal and they can scan the QR code. At a fine dining restaurant, you're not going to put a table tent on a white tablecloth. And so it's figuring out, okay, are you going to have something on the menu so customers know how they can participate? Is it going to be something in like a check presenter? Is it going to be a little menu insert? And so we've had fine dining restaurants be successful, but there have been, in terms of our kind of core restaurant grouping, it more falls in the line of QSR, fast casual dining, that's a elevated casual dining, and not as much like super $4 sign fine dining restaurants.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So, obviously, businesses have times where they're busy, like sales times, and GiftAMeal, it lends right into the holidays, gift, right? And so, I would think this is a great time, and probably, arguably, maybe the middle of the summer would have been the time you're out there really pushing this. But during the holidays, this GiftAMeal seems like it could be a great time for you to really kind of like catch fire. And again, I know that. The last thing the food banks probably needed on Thanksgiving or the day before is a turkey, right? They're probably pretty well covered, unfortunately. And it's an important thing to be honest, all year round for sure. I mean, this is something the food banks need food probably more so other times of the year than during the heart of the holidays. I guess I'm just wondering, do you find this to be a good time to talk to people? Because again, the gifting a meal and people sort of feel maybe a little more apt to be generous this time of year. So selling through and maybe even seeing, do you see more participation with the customers in the restaurants at this time of year?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I'll kind of walk through those three different groups: the food banks, the diners at the restaurants, and the restaurants themselves. For the food banks, I mean, they do have a big need in the holiday season and just in the winter season in general. When it's cold outside, they have a spike in the need for services. In the summer months, that is particularly challenging for kids that are facing food insecurity because they don't have access to the school lunches. And, so filling that meal gap for the kids is something really important for the food banks. But they really just need more support all year round for the food banks. On the diner side of things, the people dining out at restaurants, we see that in the season of giving in the holidays, people are really apt to use a program like GiftAMeal and kind of lean into it, and it's something that makes them feel good about themselves and that they're really actively looking for, and so it stands out to them in a really positive way. But again, throughout the whole course of the year, we've seen that people are looking to give back. I mean, there were a couple consumer culture reports that were done by Fuse Marketing and 5WPR, and it found that 84% of Gen Z said that they would be more likely to purchase from a brand if they give back, and 71% of millennials said that they would pay more for a product if they knew that some of the proceeds were going to support a good cause, and that's regardless of the timing of the year. In terms of the restaurant side of things, this time of year is tough to get the ear of restaurant owners and executives just because, holiday season, people are busy. And so, typically in terms of, those types of conversations, we get a lot of people saying, this is great. Let's talk in January for the next year. But then we also see people that say, hey, let's talk now because we're setting our budgets in November and December for 2024. Or, we want to launch this on January 1st. We have a number of restaurants that are already set to launch on January 1st. And so that'll be something really exciting. So, it's a little bit of a mix of everything. Sometimes restaurants are looking for things for the holiday season. But once we're already kind of in it, just people in general at any job get busy during the holidays, and
they got to make their way through, right? So, and I'm again, I keep saying I'm impressed by the model. I love it, and we, in our company, we have several different agencies, and one is an agency that focuses on restaurants, Vigor, and I'm going to be sure to talk to our clients about your product. I think it's a great product. I think it makes you always look for a win-win in a way. I mean, yours is like a win-win-win, right? The food banks and the food banks are helped. The people going to the food banks are helped. The patrons are feeling good about themselves, and it's great marketing for the restaurant. So you got like 4 wins there, and that's pretty unheard of. So,
and to add in another one, something that's kind of cool from the marketing agency perspective is that with GiftAMeal, we give a restaurant access to a dashboard where they can access all of the user-generated content created from the program, and they have the rights to use that content in their marketing and social media efforts. And so we've had our partner restaurants give their marketing agency access to the dashboard so they can create some really cool, engaging, authentic user-generated content pieces to push out in their marketing efforts. So that's been something really cool to see, and what the marketing agencies have kind of taken and run away with GiftAMeal.
Mm-hmm. So if I did the math right, it's around $700 a year per location. Is that simply how it breaks down at $59 a month or whatever, something like that?
Yeah, so that's the price for an independent restaurant to join for a single location. If a restaurant has 5+ locations, we discount based off the number of locations. So if a place has over 30 locations, then it's $39 a month per location if they pay monthly, or $34 if they pay annually. And so, discount rate for more locations. They can go month to month with no commitment and cancel at the end of any month. Or they can pay annually for a slightly discounted rate because it's more predictable cash flow for us.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
For budgeting. But yeah, so it's we try to make it affordable and have a flat, predictable rate for budgeting for the restaurants, and we cover all the cost of the donations from there.
I love it. How many employees do you have?
So we have 6 of us on the team right now.
Nice.
So, we're small and scrappy. Stay lean.
That's the way to be. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to make it, that's what you got to be. The last thing you need is lots and lots of mouths to feed. But are you doing all the sales? Are you the guy hitting the payment, or you have a team now?
I have a team. Allison and Danny are also working on the sales as well, and they're wonderful. They've started to have some really great ones. Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken with 130 locations. Yeah. That was Danny who brought that in. And Pizza Factory with 110 locations. That was Allison. And then Gong Cha with 162. That was me. And so, the 3 biggest sales were all from 3 different people on the team. And so to, really progress in the business to not just be founder-led sales is something that has been really exciting, because it shows me that, we actually have something here that's beyond myself. And, it's something where I always want to be kind of involved in sales, because I want to be having that customer interaction and be learning what customers need and how to further adapt our product. And, at the end of the day, sales is what's going to be most important, both to grow the business, grow our revenue, and then also to grow our level of social impact and give the most meals possible. But it's, we can grow a lot faster with people like Danny and Allison on our team.
That's great. And obviously too, scalability is huge, right? So you can't be the guy all the time. So the more that others can I'll say, enjoy and feel good about the sales, the better it is for your company. It rates, high tide rises up all the boats. So that's fantastic. So again, as an entrepreneur, and I have a lot of respect for what you're doing here. You're growing fast, and you recently beat out 35,000 applicants to win an Amazon small business grant. Can you talk about that? Talk about the program, and it makes you be very proud of.
Yeah, I thought it was throwing a dart at a very far away dartboard when I applied for it. Like you said, 35,000 applicants, and with a big name competition from Amazon business, it was something I thought we had no shot at. But I fill out the application because why not? It took me 10 minutes to fill out the application. Talking about kind of our traction, our growth over the last year. We've doubled in size, and kind of the vision for where we want to go. And I got the alert that we were one of 10 finalists, and that was something that was really exciting, and started to think, okay, maybe this is something that's possible. And then the Amazon Business opened it up to everybody with an Amazon Business account to be able to vote. It was blind voting, so we had no idea how many votes we had, and it's one vote per Amazon Business account, so no one could really rig it. And it was, we ended up finding out that we won, and we got a $25,000 non-dilutive grant. And that was something that was incredible. And Amazon actually flew out here to St. Louis, and they had a team of like 11 people to film a video and take photos and all this stuff. And that'll be coming out soon. And, it was just something that was a really cool experience. And to feel the support from the Amazon business team was incredible. And, the funding to be able to support us goes a really long way. And so, yeah, I mean, it was something I was pretty flabbergasted with in a
That's
positive
awesome.
way, and very, very grateful to really push forward with our mission.
That's great. So, so there's more people on the camera crew for Amazon than in your company.
Yes, it was a wild experience. Like, we filmed at the food bank that we work with in St. Louis. We filmed at one of our partner restaurants, and
That's great.
it was quite the production.
Very cool. And so $25,000, you probably just went out and had one hell of a dinner, right? Is that what you? No, I'm just kidding.
Not quite. I think that goes kind of
caviar, jets, champagne. No.
Yeah, not quite. More sales, marketing, and product.
Excellent. Okay, good. True entrepreneur. I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. Well, what other advice? What advice do you have for other entrepreneurs who have a dream or have an idea? I mean, is there anything you want to throw out there?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, for other entrepreneurs, I think the big thing is, if you have an idea, talk to people in the space, especially those that are going to be your potential partners or customers, to figure out the problems that they're facing and the pain points. I think something with GiftAMeal that I figured out is that everybody is busy, and figuring out how to make things as easy and plug and play as possible was what we found a lot of success with. So making it no effort for staff, no mental energy for the restaurant to have another program to have to think about, just be really simple and easy, and have every touch point with the customer be something that's important. Is something that I figured out. And then I think more than anything, it's just getting out there and doing it and seeing what the response is like, and learning and being willing to fail and having a low ego so that, you could admit when you're wrong and continually iterate and learn and re-implement and just kind of go from there. And I think that if you're also just kind of a kind person and put yourself out there, that, people will want to help you succeed. People are generally good, and don't be afraid to ask people for help in a reasonable way. And then also, always make sure to give that back to support everybody else along the way, just as those have supported you.
That's great, man. You just probably put together what you could put a book together on. Because I mean, as far as being an entrepreneur, I mean, like some of the things you hit, I just think are just absolutely poignant. Don't be afraid to fail. I mean, I personally have started businesses. I'll be honest. I've started businesses that were better ideas than the businesses that were successful. Timing might have been wrong. Just didn't quite hit it right on the scale, the luck scale, or whatever you want to call it. And I mean, I think you do make your own luck, but I mean, sometimes it's a timing thing, right? And but you can't be afraid, right? You can't be afraid to fail. One thing I did years ago, I had two daughters, and we were in a restaurant somewhere, and we were just talking about like just work and business and life and all that stuff. And I said to my girls, I said, look around, see this restaurant? And they're like looking around. And so I said, everybody in this restaurant has an idea or had an idea for a business or a product. Everybody said, one day I'm going to start this, or, hey, we should do this, or I'm going to do this, or I have this idea and I'm going to make that. And you know what? Hardly any of them probably executed on it. And that's really what it comes down to. It's like to do it. Like you said, you just do it. You sat there, you were at that break, you looked at other business models, which is smart. And you had this idea and you're like, wow, that's a good idea. Now you have two choices, right? You can just say, oh, that's a good idea. And just like go do whatever else, you finish your sandwich, whatever you're doing at lunch, or you sort of take this further and start to build on it and actually execute, spend time that you're not getting paid for, that you could be doing candidly something else, and then doing it and applying yourself. And it's those, people don't realize it's those nights that you were working on this thing, or this time, or the dedicated time that you put into this, that no one sees. They see this. They see you now. They see the success and all that, and they think that's easy, or that's what you do. But people don't realize all the no's that you probably heard along the way, or that's not really a great idea, or whatever you heard. I'm sure you heard stuff. But it's that's the hard part, right? And people don't know about that. They'll just see the success, and they'll read the article. They'll see the, hey, look what he built, and it's tough, but it's cool. Like there's nothing more fulfilling than building something.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, now looking back, people are like, oh, that's such a simple, like, great idea. But at the
Right.
beginning, it was something where it's like, oh, will anybody actually do this thing? And before we had the case studies with the restaurants to show that there was a boost in revenue that resulted in visit frequency and tip size, it was something where people were skeptical
Hmm.
about if this was something that would be sustainable. And there were 5 different times in our company's history where we had 1 month of runway left in the bank account
Hmm.
before we'd go under. And I either had to like sign up a new restaurant, close an investor, win a pitch competition, or cut costs and find a way to make things happen. And now as a company, we found a way to have it grow in a sustainable way. We're almost at break even for for the company, and it's something that's really exciting. But it's not entrepreneurship is not an easy journey by any means, but like I mentioned earlier, the creative autonomy that comes with it is something that I cherish and that's really exciting. And to be able to build a company culture in the way that I envision is for how people should be treated, and in order to figure out how we're going to have our impact be on all these different stakeholders, whether it's our investors or whether it's the restaurants or the patrons that are going to the restaurants or the food banks, and managing those relationships in what I deem to be the right way is something that is just extraordinarily special to me. And to be able to see GiftAMeal as kind of like my baby start to grow is something that is just incredibly meaningful and makes all of the hard work and the long hours and the challenging times be worth it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Very cool. Very cool. Well, is there anything else? I mean, are you working on anything else? Any other ideas percolating? I mean, anything else you want to talk about with GiftAMeal? Is there anything else you want to bring forth?
That's a good question. Not working on any other ideas outside of GiftAMeal. GiftAMeal kind of takes up everything for me, and I put my all into it. But yeah, I mean, I think it's something where with GiftAMeal, we're constantly innovating. We've launched some really cool tech integrations. Like we've launched integrations with the online ordering platform Olo,
Hmm.
with loyalty and marketing platforms like Lunchbox, Thanks, and
Hmm.
Incentivio, where now GiftAMeal can be integrated as a button into the restaurant's own white labeled mobile app. So there could be a button within there to gift a meal, or at the end of their Olo online ordering experience, there could be the prompts to gift a meal. And so, those types of innovations of working with these other solutions in the food tech ecosystem is something that's really exciting as well. And it's something that's we're excited to see the impact grow as we work with more partners of these different vendors in the space that work with restaurants, and how we can help them provide value to their clients, as well as as we look to work with larger and larger brands and more food banks. And we're now working with over 100 food banks across the country, in 37 states. And our goal is to be in all 50 states by this time next year in 2024.
It's
So
awesome.
I'm just incredibly grateful for doing what I do every day, and grateful to people like you for helping give me a megaphone to share this with the world.
Absolutely. I'm proud to do this with you. I mean, and I said, I'm a man of my word. We have restaurants that we work with. I think this would be a really smart add-on. So we'll definitely
Thank you.
keep this conversation going. So my last question I asked is to everybody, every guest, if you have one final meal, what would you eat and why?
If I had one final meal, I think it's actually funny. They're a gift a meal partner in St. Louis. It's called
Free plug.
Pasta. Yeah, I know.
That's good.
It was actually one of our first like well known, like James Beard award winning restaurants in terms of like more fine dining
Hmm.
place called Pastaria, and it's Italian. It's just Italian food to the max, in the U.S.
Hmm.
And yeah, no, their bolognese is just incredible. And I'll also get a pizza and something else there. So
Yeah.
I'd say a comprehensive full meal at Pastaria would be my final meal.
Fantastic. That's very good. Very good. Now, I do actually have one other question too, because just the way, the entrepreneurial side of me and how you start out. Did you have to, like your first restaurant, when you have this great concept, you came up with this pricing of $70 a month, or, whatever, 69, whatever it was a month. Did you have to give one away for free? Did you have to do one restaurant and say, hey, look, you know what? I'm going to cover this. You do this. Let's see that this works. Did you have to do that? Or talk about that, just that very quickly.
Yeah, at the very beginning, it was the first 40 restaurants that we did for free.
Wow.
And, we no longer have that free plan anymore. But, it was one of those things where, like you said, it was the chicken or the egg of getting people to use it and getting validation. And, but even getting restaurants to sign up for free for something was tough because it's another thing for them to think about that wasn't proven. And so it was kind of me going in there saying, hey, this could be a value to you. It's going to make an impact for the community. If you're an early adopter, that we'd appreciate it. Help out this young guy who's trying to do good in the world. And, then we were able to prove out the concept and then sign up others and convert those restaurants to be on sustainable plans for the long term. And but it's one of those things where at the beginning you have to, you have to prove it out.
Give it away. Yep. Good for you, Andrew. You have all the grit in the world of an entrepreneur. Obviously you're successful. I congratulate you on your success and appreciate the time. This was really an enlightening conversation.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right. We'll talk soon.